What is going on, everyone? Welcome to SB Fantasy Football Podcast, where, gosh darn it, we try hard. As always, I'm Alan.
I'm RD. What up, man?
You know what? Just another week in the books. How'd you do this week? You doing good?
I don't know. I don't. I feel like I checked it, and then I don't know. I got to go back and look and think about what my final record was. Yeah, I don't know, man. I probably should have looked it up. I don't know. How'd you do?
I did okay. I had one league where I could have sworn I took Amari Cooper out,
Yeah.
but apparently I didn't. And so, I'm
What
there
happened?
at the ball fields and just happened to pull up my phone and look, and it was like 15 minutes ago after the game started. You're like, Amari Cooper's in your lineup and he's out. I'm like, son of a
It's stuff I could have used yesterday.
god.
What's up, edits? What's up, Michael? How you doing?
Michael, what's going on, sir?
Yeah,
Edits,
I don't
what's
know,
up?
man. I
Yeah,
just
but I know I took him out. I don't know what the hell happened.
yeah.
I don't know. I swear I did because I even talked about it on the live. I was like, I got a guy who's banged up. He might not play, but I got this guy here who's healthy. I'm playing the guy who's healthy. I don't care. Right. And then
How's he already banged up? Like it seems like
he
he's
was
always banged up.
he was banged up before he went over there. And then he did his wrist. He's dealing with a wrist injury.
Oh,
Right.
geez.
And so,
I'm
a little
tired of
too
it.
much
I'm
alone
tired of
time,
injuries.
you know.
Just
Dude, tell me about it. Michael, bad week. Oh no. Oh no.
I'm actually pretty close to just kind of sitting it and forgetting it. I didn't do a lot of moves. Like even this morning, I was like looking at, stayed up late, but it's like I got up this morning and I'm like, took the dog for outside and I'm like, do I care? Do I want to pick up a defense? And so I did. I was like, all right, I'll change it. I was like, I just don't care. I don't know why. I don't know what it's been. It's we're in week 10 now. We just
Yep.
completed week 9. The season's longer than ever. And I think we just finished halfway the halfway mark for the regular season. So we got, I think 7 more weeks football or maybe 6 weeks before we get to the playoffs. So
London, Chase, Puka all underperformed. Puka got tossed.
yeah. I when
Puka,
I saw that, I was like, you know what? I'm getting out of here. And so I was just like, I'm done. I'm so tired. And I am now. I'm like exhausted. I don't know if I need to go get like just an energy drink or something do a shot. But I when I saw that, I go, God, I hate football. I just hate fantasy football. Yeah. And London, yeah, he kind of sucked, chased it and do nothing.
London got hurt.
Yeah.
He was dealing with an
Landed on his
injury.
hip after a touchdown pass. This was a beautiful catch too. He went up and got it, landed on his hip, and then shortly after you got the notification saying, "Oh, he's went from healthy to questionable." Like, yeah, that's another day. Thanks, appreciate it.
I'm like, that's not good. Don't
Uh-huh.
don't do me like that. And
It
then
was a weak punch. It just he just kind of I don't know. You know what I mean? It was more of a shove that kind of went out as a punch. Should he have got tossed? I don't know. Who
well,
cares?
and then did you see Brian Branch get tossed for just
Was that
said he could have avoided the safety from the Lions?
Oh yeah, I tweeted about that. I was like, these guys are like just. I made a tweet about it. I go, is there a dirtier team in the league? And
Oh my
no, the answer is no, because as
god.
you see him do that, he went head hunting, and it's like it took. Was it the play with like 3 of them or 2 of them collided with one receiver, and then you had one of your defensive tackles or defensive ends or whatever has a hold of the quarterback, and he's gator rolling on his ankle and his knee and all that shit. It's when you see a team just full of dirt bags and losers, you're just like,
Oh,
ain't
listen to
nothing you
this.
could do about it. It's just and this is when if anybody was listening to the show, I think it was I don't know if this was Strikeout Beer, if this is SB Fantasy Football, but I was like, you know what? If you injure, this is the proposition I was bringing up. I was like, if you injure, I brought it up in the past. If you cheap shot and end up injuring a quarterback, not only are you gone, but your quarterback's gone.
Yeah. Hey, he
I was like,
wasn't
that'd
hurt.
be so
We
awesome.
were just making sure we had the tackle. That's all.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
He's fucking window licking. I can't even say the other word.
Yeah.
frittata. Window licking frittata. Oh God. But yeah, no, it was just I watched football on Sunday for like I'd say I watched all the games, but my heart wasn't in it. Right. I was exhausted. I'll talk more about that on Strikeout Beer, but yeah, I think hold on, let me look. Anyways, so what was your record this week? Did you
Let's
tally it
see.
all up?
I can look real quick. Give me 2 seconds.
Wait, I only lost 1 game. Okay, so yeah, so I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went 5-1, and the reason I lost the one was because Dak got hurt and Puka got tossed, and Goff didn't do anything. So yeah, it was one of those weeks, and that's the way it is. That's just the way it is.
I was 2-6 this week, so or 2-4. I'm sorry, 2-4.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah, you just got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
We got rained out, Michael. We started our first game and we were stomping the team. Kiddo was pitching great, and then the storms came through, and rest of the tournament got canceled. So that was it. Thanks for asking, brother.
Yeah, we had crazy storms that rolled through.
I had
It rained the day before Halloween, pretty good. Then we got a dry spell during Halloween, and then it stormed. It rained. Um, November 1st, yeah. So Friday, we had pretty much the morning and day and early evening before it just started downpour, and then it just rained all weekend. It was great. It was great. We needed it. We're in North Texas. We didn't have any rain essentially all October, and then finally, boy, when it came, it just and then it's been nice for a day. It's supposed to rain some more this weekend.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to
Mhm.
get some more rain. I think maybe tomorrow even. We're
Mhm.
supposed to start getting some more rain. So, but
Looking
yeah.
forward to it.
But dude, did you see? I know you saw it, but let me get your thoughts. That Saquon Barkley leap,
Oh, it was amazing.
dude.
Like,
I
you couldn't believe it. It looked fake when you first saw it. Because your brain didn't believe what it saw. And so when they showed the replay, I go, "Nah, they're doing something. There's something weird here." And
it's camera work, right?
yeah, and that spin move, and then he backwards. So he reverse hurdled over somebody. And if you think to yourself, if anybody can do it in the league, that's what makes it believable, is because it's
Right.
him.
Yeah.
Because he's absolutely insane when it comes to his athletic ability. He can just shoot right off the ground. And yeah, he did. I mean, I mean, it wasn't like he got like a running start or anything. I mean, what do they call it? It's when they're testing your vertical. I mean, his vertical's insane. He just sprung right off the ground like it was nothing.
His backwards vertical is higher than most people's forwards vertical. Like, and then it wasn't just that like he just jumped over him, right?
Mhm.
He jumped over him, landed, turned around, and got another yard or two,
Yeah.
right? Like, just the whole thing was just insane. And
Mhm.
I'm glad he's on the Eagles now and he's not on the Giants anymore.
Hey, Lizzie.
As Lizzie joins the room. What's up, Lizzie? Nothing against your Giants. They just uh, they didn't utilize them right, you know?
Well, I mean, when you only have it's being part of a bad team. And Daniel Jones used to actually be decent enough to where he could stretch the field, and they had a couple receivers. Towards the end of his time there, though, that's quite different, right? Like there was no one on the team. There was no playmakers other than Saquon. And now Daniel Jones, he doesn't know what's going on. These guys, when they get their contracts, it's over.
But it's also they got rid of his little buddy there in Saquon, right?
Mhm.
And so you don't have anybody else there with him. Like you got Malik Neighbors, and Malik Neighbors has been pretty good. But I mean, just all in all, it's just been kind of
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's now. If they had Malik Neighbors, Saquon Barkley, I'm sure Jones would be a little bit better. But he can't. I mean, he's always running. That's part of his upside. He's a streaming option in a lot of leagues, just because simply the rushing upside, and he might run in a touchdown, but he's going to throw 2 or 3 picks. He's probably going to fumble. He's going to turn the ball over quite a bit. But
oh
he's
yeah.
a streaming option in a
Well,
lot of leagues, week in, week out.
it's like Baker. You know, Baker's going to throw 1 or 2 picks, but he's going to combine that with 3 or 4 touchdowns,
Yeah.
right? And a
Oh,
good 300 yards.
they
So
missed an opportunity Monday. Was it Monday night or Sunday night? Whatever night it was.
that was
Yesterday, 2 days ago? So it
Monday
must have been
night.
Monday night, yeah.
Monday
Shoulda
night.
went
Yeah.
for 2, win the game, call it,
Well,
it's over.
and if the I can't remember who it was, but the defensive player for the Bucks dropped 2 picks
Yeah,
back to back.
right in the hands.
Mahomes threw it to him twice.
Yeah.
So, Edits has got some problems here.
Mm,
So I have a problem. I have Kenneth Walker on a bye, and my running back room is very weak on my bench. All I have is Charbonnet, who is also on a bye. I dropped Chase Brown earlier this year, and I have Jonathan Brooks. You got to go pick somebody up because I don't even know if Jonathan Brooks is going to be playing.
not
Like
yet.
he's coming off of the injury list on. It's supposed to do today,
Yeah.
but they're not sure if he's going to play on Sunday. And if he plays, how much are they really going to utilize him?
This
You know,
comment was on one of our shorts, and I kind of just let it go. I was like, because I know we were going to be talking about tonight, and I figured he'd be in here as well. But yeah, I mean, you got to go get somebody. Obviously, you got to make a move, do something, get somebody off waivers, even if it's like a second stringer. What's his name, McLaughlin out of Denver. It's always like one of those where he's back up, but if they're up, he probably will get you a touchdown. And he'll probably catch a couple balls along the way. So in PPR formats, he's kind of worth it. But yeah, I mean, unless you're in a crazy deep league, there's someone out there. There's
yeah.
someone out there to be had.
Antoine Winfield Jr. That's who dropped both those picks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so here's who he's got out there: Ray Davis,
Mhm.
Roshan Johnson, Justice Hill, Cam Akers, and Khalil Herbert.
Well, Khalil Herbert's not going to get up to speed, I don't think, in Cincy, but he's a good pickup, actually, just to pick him up in the stash because I think what's his name's Moss is going to be done for a while. I mean, out of this, I think I like Ray Davis. You
Yeah,
know, I think that he's got more upside and he gets playing time, and they utilize him in the red zone.
yeah.
Roshan kind of just every so often they like give him the ball and he scores a touchdown like every 3 weeks or something like that. But no utilization after that. I haven't really heard much of Justice Hill. They used him quite a bit in one game, just kind of going up and down the field, and then of course they got close and it was like, yeah, it's Derrick Henry time.
Yeah.
They he's so far down. I mean, yeah, he's the backup out there, but he's so far down like the pecking order that it is what it is.
He's going to get you. I mean, 15 yards rushing last week, 3 catches for 43 yards. The week before that, 5 yards rushing, 1 catch for 14, 4 yards rushing, 3 catches for 44 yards, and a touchdown. Um,
I don't think you have a
it's
problem
just,
here. Then his next comment, he's got James Cook. So you're just looking for an RB2. You can go get a true RB2, and like I said, just whoever's on who's available. And what I'm looking at right now, I'd be okay with sliding in Ray Davis right there. To be honest.
and so we're going to play Ray Davis and James Cook and hope they
Oh
both have.
Jesus. Yeah. That's the ultimate stack too, because one of them getting that touchdown. One of them's getting that touchdown. If I don't like the stack, I mean, where's Akers at these days? I mean, he went away when what's his name got elevated again.
Oh,
And so
Mixon's back,
yeah,
so
Mixon's back. So Cam Akers, and he wasn't even good when he got the start and he didn't even hold up his own. But
I
yeah,
mean, I think I hate to say it, but I think you go double Buffalo.
who's Buffalo
Uh,
playing this week?
they got Indy this week,
Oh, there you
so
go. And they might have mop up time, and then guess what? Ray Davis is going to get a lot of action, so it might be more of like a 50-50 split, um, in the game, which they're not going to leave in Moss all game, or not Moss, excuse me. They're not going to leave in Cook all game long, especially if they're up. And they do rotate uh, Ray Davis in.
yeah. Let's see here, Michael. Should I ride with Gasecki or Pitts this week? Um, I mean, you know who I like. Like it's no secret. I like
You know,
Pitts.
I'll say this, it with Gasecki, he's had some great games, phenomenal games or whatever. They're playing the Ravens this week on Thursday Night Football. You kind of expect maybe a low scoring affair, to be honest, just because Thursday night games can be kind of a dud. But the Falcons are at the Saints on Sunday at noon. I think Pitts is going to score a touchdown, at least one. But how competitive is that game going to be? The Saints look absolutely dog s. At least the Ravens and Bengals could be competitive. And if you do predict, probably like I think it's going to be low scoring. But if you do, or you're more on the line of like, hey, it could be a moderate shootout if it's even a thing. Gesicki, if you're in PPR, eh. But I mean, Pitts has had some good weeks this week. He didn't have a good week. Did he dud out? Did he get anything
So
this past week?
who's that? Pitts.
Yeah.
Well, here's your issue with Pitts. And so I think based off of this, I think you're going to go Gasecki because Pitts is dealing with a hamstring injury
I'm out.
that he hurt during the game this last week. He's been limited. He was limited in practice today, but you don't know. Again, we're dealing with a situation where you have a player playing later in the week who's banged up, who hamstrings can sometimes linger, right?
Mhm.
I mean, you're looking at Dak. Dak's probably going to hit the IR because of his, right? Um, so I think you're going to have to roll with Gasecki this week just to make sure you otherwise you're going to end up having to scour free agency, right?
Yeah. And I mean, Hunter Henry should be available, and he's had a real good rapport with Drake May as long as Drake May is playing. They're playing the Bears this week. They're on the road. It seems like all your options are kind of on the road right now, which kind of it does suck. But if I had to pick, I think it's going to be Kaseki just to get the sheer thing right. I don't want to be waking up Sunday morning. And let's be honest, the game started at 8:30 this Sunday in Central Time here. It's a Germany game, Giants and Panthers. Yeah, I mean I'm going to say Kaseki just because I don't want to deal with it. I do not deal with injuries at all. I'm so
Yeah.
tired of them.
All right, we got some trade talk here. Is T. Higgins and Tank Dell for Justin Jefferson fair? No. My wide receivers are Amon Ra, T, Tank, Amari, and Odunze. He needs wide receiver depth. So
Oh,
what?
you're getting Jefferson? Yes, make the
Trade
trade.
T. Higgins, Tank Dell for Justin Jefferson in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing with Higgins is, he's injured. He's been out a couple weeks, and he was supposed to get traded. And I guess he never got traded. Trade deadline was yesterday, so he's kind of injured now. Tank Dell is filling up a larger role there in Houston because of the injury with Diggs, but it's Justin Jefferson. You know what I mean? And you already have Amon Ra, so you're gonna have Amon Ra, Justin Jefferson, and then Amari Cooper. Dunze is going to be on your bench. He's had 2 good weeks this year. He's not a reliable start, so you'll have your 3 if you have 3 receivers that is in your lineup. You've got a solid 3.
yeah, I would trade T. Higgins and Tank Dell for Justin Jefferson in a heartbeat. I mean, I would just raw dog that all night long and just take it.
Oh God.
I'm just saying. Do you have Jacobs over Cooks? Rest of the season because of Ray Davis and Josh Allen vulturing TDs? No, I don't. I still like Cook better. Um,
Yeah, I'm with you.
yeah,
We're
no,
talking.
I'm not a big Jacobs fan. I talked about it Saturday. I'm just waiting for him to get hurt. It's gonna happen.
He finally scored a touchdown a couple weeks ago, which was nice. It was good to see it. And he has been doing quite well. They've just got some problems in Green Bay right now. You know what I'm saying? Like Jordan Love getting hurt and seems to be just a lingering thing. I don't. For me, it's just going to be Cook.
Yep, same here.
Allen will always vulture at least one touchdown a game. It's the way it goes. And in Ray Davis, he does 1 or 2. But you know what I'm saying? Like even with the vulturing, he still scores more points than Jacobs on a weekly average, I believe, so far.
But also they've kind of tend to gone a little bit away from Josh Allen vulturing the TDs and been going more with Cook because Cook's shown to be a viable running back option, as opposed to in years past, they haven't really had someone there that they could trust with the ball on the goal line. So it was Josh Allen making things happen. Cook has proven that he can be that guy. And so they're trying to limit the hits that Josh Allen is taking. And hey, if you don't have to pound your quarterback on the goal line, awesome. Right. And I think that kind of shows this year because he's had less turnovers this year in the red zone as well. So you know what, Edits? I forgot about that. Cam Akers was traded to the Vikings.
So he's
But I
back.
still don't.
Yeah.
I just don't like Cam Akers. He's had plenty of opportunities to be that guy, and he just hasn't taken it. So yeah, Michael. So the FOMO, this was the week that Taysom Hill had his week, right? And now we want to jump back on the Taysom Hill bandwagon, but it's again we're back to it's the FOMO with Taysom Hill, the fear of missing out. And I'm sure you said you listened to me and you benched him, and I'm sorry. But this was the 1 week, and I even said it like after I said it, I was like, "Watch, I'm saying don't play Taysom Hill this week, and he's going to go off this week. This will be his week, and he's going to take the next 3 weeks off, and he's going to bust it out again, and who knows? And you got a whole new coaching staff there now. Dennis Allen gets canned. I mean, that's long overdue. So we'll see what happens now with the new coaching staff there.
I was looking at Ray Davis. So he had, I think Cook had 12 points or something last week. So Davis had 19, but most of his points came from he had 2 receptions for 70 yards, and one of those was over a 40-yard catch, and he scored a touchdown. That was pretty much the difference. He only got 4 carries for 20 yards. You know what I mean? He only touched the ball 6 times. Yeah, he did make a hell of a play on one, but it's still James Cook backfield. It's not gonna obviously he's not catching 70 yards worth of passes every week.
What do you think is fair trade for Tank and Higgins? I want to upgrade, but I want to keep it realistic so it doesn't get vetoed.
Why is it getting vetoed? The only
Shoot
reason
for the
anything should
moon.
get vetoed
Don't be
is,
scared about getting vetoed.
yeah.
Shoot for the moon. And if he says no, okay. You're but what if he says yes?
I
I'm
mean,
just saying.
so you're trading away Tank and Higgins, obviously, for you want to trade for. I don't know who wants to accept that. To be honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
know
mean,
Higgins is a great player, and he's not even he's a wide receiver one on a lot of people's teams, even though he's a wide receiver two on his own team.
yeah.
And Tank just kind of is up and down, left and right and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know who you could really get, but yeah, I mean, if you can get him to hey, shoot the shot for Jefferson, and if he counters, look at the counter, analyze, it, be like, you know what? Am I willing to give up this other player for him or whatever? But I mean, it's just
Shoot it.
oh, okay. He played something else down there. Go check it out real quick. I mean,
Um,
this is the time to get rid of Dell anyways, because he's already back. He scored 13 and a half points last week. He scored 20 this week, he had 18 the week before. So he's back and he's firing all cylinders. So, that stack right, no, not stack, but that combination of players could entice him if he needs depth.
if he needs depth, yeah. I mean, you never know. He already shot it out there. He just wants to know what other wide receivers, and if he declines, because he probably will. Yeah, I mean, I would, but
I mean, I have to know
you
who
never know.
else is on his
Right.
team
Who
that
else
you're
does
worth
he
going
have?
after. Yeah.
Exactly, Michael. So we're saying there's a chance.
You
You
never
never.
do
I've seen
know.
crazier things happen.
Yeah. Not everybody views trades the same. Like I've thrown a fit on a couple trades that's happened in our leagues before, to say it mildly. But yeah, nothing should get vetoed unless it's collusion, right? That's the only time someone ever have to step in. It should never be vetoed. If you're in a league where you can't even make a trade like that, like yeah, it seems like he's giving up a lot for those two players. But hey, drop it in the trade analyzer on Roto or anything else and plug it in and see what it says. And if it's close, it's close. And if anybody tries to veto, be like, hey, sorry, chump, make an offer. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, he's just talking about the player
yeah.
the manager he sent it to saying no, declining the trade.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But he mentioned vetoed, so that's
I
not
think
just
that's what he was talking about.
okay. Yeah. Send it,
Yeah.
man. Shoot your shot.
Yeah.
And then we see what he says. And then obviously, like I said, some people are more about like kind of negotiating, and some people are just straight up like, no, I'm not going to do it. He probably he spent his first round pick on Justin Jefferson, and you're offering him two players. Now we're 9 weeks into the season. That to me, that S does not matter anymore wherever I drafted a player because it is not relevant. It's who's going to get me into the playoffs, who's going to win me a championship, and that's how I need to be thinking about it going forward. Not it was my first round pick or my 101. I mean, who cares? Like even for like people who have McCaffrey, they've been sitting around for 9 weeks, and he's finally coming back. And then like, how are they going to roll him out there? Like, I don't know. Cautiously, I guarantee it.
Gosh. um. So he follows it up as a good trade for DK or Debo. Well, DK's out right now, so it's just depending on how long DK is going to be out, right? Um.
I think you're
So you
giving
might
up
be
too
able to
much for those two players. At this point, we've kind of moved. I think to me, it's like you moved like just a tier, not below or anything like that. Because DK obviously is amazing, and Depot can produce, but he's crowded room out there. I think, but it's like I don't know. I'd kind of just keep Higgins. I mean, I'd keep Higgins and Tank in case somebody goes down because injuries have been everywhere, and Higgins scores damn near as much as DK, anyways. DK or Depot. How many weeks where there's a serious deviation in scoring between those two players?
Yeah, and Debo's dealing with injuries as well too, right?
Mhm.
Um, he's dealing with a rib injury right now. Now he's on the bye this week, so he's got a week to recover. But then, I mean, when he comes back, he's got some nice matchups. He's got some bad matchups. But like you're saying, I'd almost be okay with T. Higgins there
Yeah.
over those two, because again, you're dealing with guys that are kind of all three of those guys are dealing with injuries:
Mhm.
Higgins, DK, and Debo. So What about for AJ Brown? Yeah, I would do that for AJ Brown. I like AJ Brown. He's good at football.
He's a good football player, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Like Higgins by himself is a comp to the way AJ Brown is playing this year. Right? They're compared. They're scoring about the same amount of points. I actually think Higgins has put up more like a single game than AJ Brown. AJ, I don't know what it is. It's like it's Hurts, right? Hurts isn't. He's just not slinging it. This past game though, you could tell they had enough, and he's just throwing bombs down the field, which it was fun to watch. It really was. But I mean, yeah, I like AJ Brown there, but it's still. I'm like, who's going to play? Because Higgins is hurt with a quad injury. AJ Brown, he came up limping. He was hurt in the by the end of the game. He's limited right now as well. It's these guys are all banged up.
Yeah, he's listed as day to day with the injury. MRI came back showing it was minor with that. Um, I'd almost rather a guy kind of have a little bit of a bruised knee versus a quad injury,
Mhm.
because those quad injuries you're dealing with tissues and muscles, and um, they tend to linger. They
Mhm.
tend to linger a little bit.
He's
So
got a promising, I wouldn't say somewhat promising. They play Dallas this week. They got Washington the week after. Then they got the Rams. Then they have to go to Baltimore, home against Carolina, home against Pitt, then at Washington, and home against Dallas at the end of the season. So I mean, he's got a pretty good. AJ Brown has a pretty good matchup
I
coming.
like his matchups for the rest of the year
Yeah, yeah.
for sure. Faux show. So that's where we fall on that. So, um, how do you feel about Jonathan Mingo being traded to the Cowboys? That do anything for you?
Dude, they are so mismanaged from top to bottom. It's like they got all these holes, all these problems, just issues galore. And they're like, you know what? We need to give. They paid more for Mingo than what they accepted for Amari Cooper.
Yeah,
Like, dude, they don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, I'm sure. Hey, listen, it's the biggest brand in the world. Jerry's one of the richest dudes in the country, type thing. Yeah, cool, cool. But you ain't winning anything, dude. Like, you know what? If that's what you really want to do, and I know it's not. I know it's not because I can see the actions and the stuff that you're doing, right? Even like the tours that go through AT&T Stadium. Now they allow fans like to be around the practice or whatever. The players are all like, "This is like a damn zoo." Like I feel like I'm at the zoo. I'm like a lion out there roaming around, and I got these kids, making faces at me and throwing popcorn in the cage and stuff like that. It's absolutely bonkers. But yeah, Mingo, what the hell are we doing here? This guy sucked in Carolina. He couldn't stay on the field in Carolina.
he's the number 5 wide receiver in Carolina.
In Carolina.
So Michael Trey Jones knows something we don't.
No, he don't. No, he don't. He's lost his
Just like
mind.
he knew something when he was trading for Trey Lance last year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Picked up Trey Lance and never use put him in the season. And I don't know why they were buying. Why are they buying at the trade deadline? They're obviously a team that needs to be selling. And
Yeah.
but the problem is now they pulled the full Romo, man. Paid Dak so much damn money. And I mean, at least he's got weapons. I mean, of course, he had Dez. I mean, he's got CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb getting a S kicked out of him
Dude, CeeDee
just for
Lamb.
bad throws and stuff, dude. There's so much just awesomeness going down in Dallas right now. I love it. I love it. Old school. How are
Uh,
you, buddy?
thoughts on Tank Dell when Nico comes back? Is he still a good flex? Um, I mean, because you don't have Diggs, right?
Yeah.
So Diggs is still going to be out for a minute. It's possibly, you know, we'll just have to kind of see how does he do the next several weeks before Nico comes back, and then just kind of play it by ear once he comes back. Um,
He's boomer bust every week. But I mean, he does get here's the thing. He does get like over 5 targets on average, like at least the first handful of games when everybody was healthy, right? Um, but it just I'd have other options for sure. I don't know. I think I had Tank Dell on one of my teams, and I don't think he's seen the field yet. He had a great game this past week against the Jets. But other than that, it's been, 13 points, no points. He did have 18 against New England. 7, 0, 11, 2, 8.
he's
That's
got
not
just
flex.
3 good weeks.
That's not flex material for me. I can go get an RB3 that'll probably do about the same and just be Ray Davis will hit that.
So yeah, I think you just got to kind of play it by ear right now. Let's see what he continues to do, being the only like healthy wide receiver they have right now, and then just kind of go from there. Is where I'm kind of at. How we doing, old school? Javier traded Reed and Swift for Debo. Win or loss? Ooh, Reed and Swift for Debo. Well, I mean, I don't know that I'd pull the trigger on that.
He's got his team right
Uh,
there. Read his team.
I know he's got Purdy, Brees, JT, Cup, St. Brown, Hunt, Laporta, Pollard, B Rob, Evans, and Joku, MHJ. Rate my team as well. Okay. Um,
Well, it looks like you made a trade just to make a trade or to
that's
get
kind of
another.
how I feel about that. But you're sitting on. You still got three good. Or yeah, well, I mean, you're pretty good running back wise, right?
Reese
Um,
JT, yeah, and I assume Hunt, Kareem Hunt, right?
yeah, yeah. That's Kareem Hunt. I mean, you're playing Kareem Hunt right now. You're playing Jonathan Taylor right now.
I thought that said
Brees
Bob
Hall.
Evans. I was like, man, I need some, I need some
That's
breakfast.
almost how I read it. Was Bob Evans. I mean, you've definitely got a. I feel like you could have done better to try and get an upgrade type situation for another um, wide receiver. Because I mean, Jalen Reed, I kind of like him, right?
He's
Um,
struggling as
but
of late.
right now, well, he's struggling as of late because Jordan Love is hurt and he
Mhm.
can't play like he needs to. Um,
I mean, he still put up 18 points this past week. His highest when he came out of the gate hot, right? 35 points. He scored
right.
30 in Minnesota, 15 and 14, 3. He's got some peaks, but he's got some valleys too. But yeah, you're right. It just comes down to love.
Yeah, and I'm not huge on Debo, especially this year. He hasn't been great. Um,
I don't know what's going on out there in Santa Clara.
and,
I have no
and
idea.
I mean, with Cup and St. Brown, and well, you don't have Evans anymore, right? Um,
It
I
sucks.
mean, even Marvin Harrison Jr. has been kind of turning it around here as of late. Been playing a little bit better. I don't know that you're. I mean, I guess you'll play Debo, but I think you might get to a point to where you're not even going to play Debo.
When
You
he
know?
plays and he's healthy, he gets you, 15 to 20 something points. So, I mean, he's definitely if you got him as a wide receiver 3, you're doing okay, right? And if I have to rate this team, I'm gonna give you a B,
Okay.
possibly a B plus, because I do like Brees, I like JT. Cup is back, but Puka's chewing into that workload. But hey, just hope Puka gets thrown out one more time. You're gonna have a good game. St. Brown has been hit or miss this year, but he gets his tutties. Laporta has not been anything close to what he was last year. We talked about that during our ranking show. But he has, I think, the last 3 weeks, Alan. Is it 3 weeks in a row?
I think so.
Getting
Yeah.
tutties.
Yeah.
Pollard hasn't looked bad, so he's good to have a backup. And Joku's looked great as well. Marvin Harrison. But yeah, I mean, I'd say a solid B. It's a good team. I don't know if it's playoff proof, but looks pretty good. What's your score right now? What's your ranking and what's your overall ranking and your season record? I'd love
Yeah. How
love
are
to
you
hear.
doing, Javier? Here's a fun stat for you. The last 30 passes attempted to St. Brown, 30 catches. So
I mean, what's the furthest pass that he's thrown this year? You think it's over 20 yards? Has he thrown a bomb yet?
St. Golf, yeah,
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
think
he's
so.
thrown several.
I don't no, no, no. I'm not talking like he threw like a 5-yard pass and they ran for 70 because that's happened. I'm saying if you've watched all the games, right?
Yeah, no, I haven't
It's
watched them all, but I've seen all the highlights. I've seen all the touchdowns. Yeah, he's had several bombs to JMO. He had a 50-yard pass to Laporta.
in the air. I'm
It was
talking
it
air.
was probably about 35, 40 yards in the air, and
Okay,
he
that's
ran for about 20.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm talking it's gotta be like over
yeah,
40 yards in the air, not like, someone ran a
yeah.
bubble screen or something like that.
He's got a few to
Okay.
JMO for
Okay.
sure, and that will definitely be back this week. He's got a couple that Tim Patrick has got a couple big plays, big yard plays that he's caught from him as
I bet
well.
he's glad to
So
be off the frickin' Denver Broncos.
I mean, but Denver's not bad, but yeah, I mean, you go from Denver to Detroit, yes,
They were
yes,
bad when he was on Denver. You know what I mean? The whole
Before
scheme,
they kind of figured things
quarterback and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, with Bo Nix, not bad.
and Bo Nix has looked better and better each week. He's actually, it's weird to say he's fantasy relevant now. Like we have discussions every week of should I play Bo Nix or this guy, and it's uh, been Bo Nix a few times.
Mm-hmm.
So he's 4-5 right now. Oof, oof.
That
But you
seems to
dealt
be
with
the way it is.
some injuries though, like Cup, Cup being down, Hunt's just now becoming relevant. So I feel like gonna get better. So would you rather have Dobbins or Pollard?
I mean, I'm going to say Dobbins,
I
but Pollard has looked pretty good,
they've both been good this year, right?
which
Um,
has been fun. It's been fun to see. I mean, J.K. Mr. Dobbins has been on the shelf for like 4 seasons, right? He gets hurt at the beginning of the year, never has to go through a full season, so he's fresh. Always been dealing with injuries. Now Pollard has put up some decent numbers. He's usually mid teens to high teens. He's only had like 2 bus games, if you want to call it that. He's had 18, 15, 5, 20, 17, 8, 14, and 18. I mean, you can't argue with those kind of numbers. He's getting the touches and he's making the most out of them. And he gets he gets targets, right? Around 3 to 6 a game,
it, it,
but his
it
carries
boils
attempts are over 20, man. It's
yeah, it
crazy.
boils down to if you're PPR or standard. If you're PPR, Dobbins relevant. If it's just straight or not Dobbins, Pollard's relevant. But if it's just a standard league, you're going Dobbins all day because the only thing that brings Pollard closer to Dobbins is the receptions.
Mhm.
Because you're looking at Dobbins is getting more touchdowns, but he's just not catching the ball as much. So
He does catch quite a bit, and even with like carries, like the attempts, there is quite a bit on the ground for JK. He, 14, 17, 14, 25. So there is some action there. His targets, though, beginning of the season, first half of the season, it's kind of like, all right, you get, 1, 3, 4, but the second half he had 7 against New Orleans, 7, but he only reeled in 4. But he's got plenty of targets, good receptions. But yeah, I mean, I think so. If you have to pick one, man, I mean, I
I'm
guess I
going
would
Dobbins.
lean. I'd go Dobbins and PPR for sure. But I tell you what, flip a coin because and you'll know which one that you want when it lands. But you can't go wrong, I think, with either one. Now, if you're looking at their schedule, um, the Bolts do have kind of a little bit of tougher schedule ahead of them, but then in the year, quite favorably.
And I think with Dobbins, I think you've got a more viable pass game there, so that helps open up the run game more. Versus with Tennessee, your pass game's kind of hot
Mason
dog corner.
Crosby, Mason Crosby's been okay. When you get Will Levis back, it's going to suck, and you have to go up against the Chargers this week, Minnesota next week, Houston the week after that, Washington. You had a favorable matchup against Jacksonville, but then you get Cincy, Indy, then back at Jacksonville. So Pollard has a kind of tough road ahead of him. And if they let Levis come back, nah, I'm out on that.
Okay. Start one. Mason, Brooks, Braylon Allen. I'm going Mason. We don't know. I'm assuming that's Jonathan Brooks. Um, we don't know how much he's going to play this week. He's just getting reactivated, so we'll see. And plus, Chuba Hubbard hasn't been bad. Um, Chuba's been pretty good this year, so Brooks would have to come in and just completely dominate in order to steal some of that time away from Hubbard. And he hasn't played football in a year, so he's not going to come in and just dominate. I wouldn't say.
So you
So.
picking?
Oh, Mason. Yeah, I let off with that.
Yeah, I for me, it's like this is going to be probably your last chance, I think, with Mason.
We'll see.
Braylon Allen's been pretty decent as well, but I don't know about Brooks. Yeah, I don't. I'm hoping for Mason, right? I'm like, this is my last one. I'm putting him in. I'm like, come on, baby, I need at least a good week. That shoulder, I swear to God, if it's like the first series and he hurts his shoulder, I'm taking it out on somebody. I don't know if I'll go next door and just sucker punch my neighbor or something. I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, geez, leave your neighbor alone.
He's a nice guy. They just came over the other day and were like, because we told them there was a gas leak on Halloween. and or whatever. And so they shut it down. And the neighbor came over. She goes, "Thank y'all so much. Tell your wife thank you so much. So if y'all ever need anything, let me know."
You say, key party?
I was like, yeah, I was like, okay, dokie.
Old school, how do we donate to the podcast? It's all posted there, old school. You know.
Appreciate you asking.
It's
Yeah.
in there. We do appreciate you asking. Let's see here. I traded Kincaid and Aaron Jones for Ingram and Jacobs. Thoughts? Tight end premium.
Oh, buddy.
Um,
And I'm usually on the Ingram side of things. Like I love Ingram. I absolutely love him, but this year has been so dismal. And Kincaid has been pretty decent, right? Um, God, dog. I
I
don't.
mean, he's
And I like
4 to
Aaron
5
Jones.
catches a week, 30 yards, 30 to 40 yards. We got one touchdown in there. He had 1 week where he had 10 catches for 102 yards. You got some tough matchups going forward. A bunch of teams that just don't give up points to the tight end. So that's pretty tough. But Kincaid hasn't done much for you either. Um, that's the problem with that is Kincaid's just been kind of he's gonna get you essentially 4 catches a week, 30 yards, maybe a little bit more, maybe throwing a touchdown. Um, I think it boils down to I kind of think Kincaid and Ingram are even. And then who do you like better, Aaron Jones or Josh Jacobs?
Jacobs has been scoring more, like as far as points, fantasy points, especially the last couple of weeks and whatnot. This is um, it's about even trade, to be honest with you. It's just kind of who you think is going to get you not only in the playoffs but exceed in the playoffs. Kincaid is higher, have him higher ranked going forward for the rest of the season. But then I do like Josh Jacobs, so I think you're going to get a little bit more value with the Jacobs Ingram trade.
I almost think it's a wash trade. Like I wouldn't say either team really got better. I think you're just trying to change things up for the sake of changing things up.
Which is fine. I mean, sometimes that you've had enough, you're like, "Screw it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Somebody take these players off me," and then someone else is thinking the same thing. I was like, "I want somebody else, or I want my guys." Like, if Kincaid and Jones are your guys, or if Jacobs and Ingram are your guys, and you usually have them, and someone's willing to make a trade, it's about an even trade, though.
Yeah. I would say Ingram has the potential for more. Because we've definitely seen more out of him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
In the past. Kincaid has a ton of potential, but hasn't really followed through on that potential. So, yeah. Is this podcast based in Vegas? It
it
is.
will be next year. I'm moving to Las Vegas.
You're moving to Vegas? Okay. All right. Congratulations.
I almost moved there back in, like, 2008.
Does Lizzie know she's moving to Vegas?
Yeah, so we're gonna move somewhere for about 6 months.
Okay.
I don't know where, but I don't know if I was looking at apartments in Manhattan. I'm looking up some apartments in Vegas and then up in like northern Colorado. So I think we're gonna move somewhere for like 6 months. Just get the hell out of this house. There's too many people in this house.
You're just
Just
gonna
on
let them
board.
have the house and move out.
That's it. Like here you go, here you go. Just keep the damn house. I'll be back later. It's like,
Let me know if you change the door code.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, it's like that sometimes.
All right, you got some studs and duds we're looking at. You got some no?
I was
No?
gonna ask you who came through for you this week. Of course, I have studs and duds. I got more studs than I do duds because it was a fun week. Wait, hold on.
Okay.
What week are we in? We're week 9, right? All right.
Week 9.
Yeah,
We're looking at week 9 stuff. Come on, buddy.
it's so depressing. I think I'm just these injuries or whatever. Well, guess what? Joe Burrow's back on the top, baby. Scored you 39.65 points against, of course, it's against Vegas, and he had troubles too. Like it didn't start off great, and so I look at Lizzie, I go, I swear to God, if they lose this team, lose to this team. He threw for 251 yards, had 5 touchdowns again. He's the only player in the league that's had 5 touchdown games. He threw an interception. He did have a pick 6. I was like, God, that was when I lost it. When I saw the
So
pick
6
6,
CDs, all right.
I was like, oh my God. Yeah, so we had 6 touchdowns, 1 to the other team, which was just phenomenal. And then obviously Hurts was just right behind him. So he's definitely an honorable mention. 38.20. He threw for 230 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground. He also had 67 rushing yards, so pretty decent day. And it was against Jacksonville. They were that was a interesting game to watch because there's a little bit of back and forth, and you're like, "What the hell's going on? They're not going to lose to Jacksonville. There's no way." I was like, Nick Sirianni's he's so
They
close to
tried.
getting fired. They're leaving points on the board. It's just insane. So there you go. There's your QBs. I think the 2 top ones. The other, you had Lamar Jackson. He 34.4. Mahomes finally scored some points. I tell you right now, receiver of the week, Smith and Jigba, 39 points. Dude, 180 yards on 7 receptions and 2 touchdowns. He balled out. And this is a game where you're like, they lost, but they got it close. But Gino looked so just all over the place. Gino had a terrible, just in general, he was always under pressure. He's making terrible decisions. It was just ugly. He's taking his eye off the ball's getting snapped. He's in shotgun. The ball goes right between his hands. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you, man. But yeah, he was an absolute rock. And then we've already mentioned it, Barkley and running back. I'll say Barkley and A-Chain. How about that? Barkley had 159 yards on the ground on 27 attempts and 1 touchdown. Also caught 3 balls for 40 and had a touchdown that way. The reverse hurdle, the hurdle heard around the world, was absolutely the play of the freaking week. And then A-Chain's back, obviously, with Tua. We always talk about how I think they're connected, obviously. Tua's in, there's always that deep threat, and it opens up the run game. Even though A-Chain catches a lot of balls out of the backfield, and they just make it happen. Apparently, the backup they have just can't throw that pass. But 63 yards on 12 attempts and a touchdown, 8 receptions for 58 yards and a touchdown. Honorable mention this week, Zay Flowers. There you go.
And had himself a week. Yeah.
Yep, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, yeah.
Yeah, he was someone we talked about on Saturday night. They were like, I've got Zay Flowers and I got Brian Thomas Jr. And I said Zay Flowers because we don't know for sure if Brian Thomas is going to play. He's going into the game hurt. Got a lot of pushback on that. I was like, look, guys, I'm going with the guy who's healthy going into the game. That's just.
Why does everybody want to fight you? Why do they want to fight you?
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
You just got
I
that
don't mind.
face.
Hey, fight me because you know what? Sometimes I'm wrong.
Obviously your stud tight end was Gesicki, 29 points. He had 5 receptions for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, balled out of his mind. So here you want to talk about your duds. Let me give you, I post the imperfect lineup every single week on YouTube. Check it out, youtube.com/SB Fantasy Football, I think, or something like
Let's
that.
jump over to this real quick before we get into the duds. Michael threw a question in here. Do you think Herbert is worth the pickup with how the Bengals use 2 RBs? To me, it just depends on who you're dropping.
Yeah.
I like Khalil Herbert more on the Bengals than I do on the Bears. I thought Herbert should have gotten more action than what he did over on the Bears, but for whatever reason, he kind of fell out of favor there. He's definitely got some potential to steal some snaps away from Chase Brown. Chase Brown's been good, but he hasn't been great, right? He's good enough that they were like, okay, we need number 2 with Moss going to be missing some significant time. To me, it would just depend on who you're dropping right now. But now it's now's the kind of time you want to pick him up before you have to start using a waiver wire on him and things like that. It would just depend on who you're dropping.
Yeah, when the alert came across, I thought, it was like, all right, who am I going to drop to pick him up? But in the leagues, I'm like, nah, I've already kind of got my running backs all squared away.
Right.
Chase Brown has been a stud. 26.7 points this week. He had 120 yards on 27 attempts. Yeah, that'll go down a little bit, but not much. Caught 5 balls for 37 yards and a touchdown. Him over Ray Davis? I think I'd go Ray Davis at the moment. Because you don't know what he's going to do out there. He's going to be new to the system. But yeah, Ray Davis is kind of already showing you what they're going to. The Bills are not shy about using Ray Davis.
But here's also a thing that kind of worries me about Ray Davis. When James Cook was out, Ray Davis wasn't the guy, right? They went with the other running back, and so you're like, okay. But we know what we're going to get out of Ray Davis. We don't know what we're going to get out of Khalil Herbert. And I think here's the way I kind of look at it. If you drop Ray Davis, somebody will pick him up.
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident about the fact that somebody would pick up Ray Davis. So if Herbert bombs, you're out, Ray Davis.
Yeah. The Ray Davis thing, the guy they brought in the third string is Ty Johnson, And even with like on week 3, he's only got you at 13.6 points on 3 attempts. So I don't know. It seems like it was definitely Ray Davis every week when Cook's been out, and then he's also the backup or the starter when Cook is out. I don't know
Yeah.
if I said that right or not, but yeah, I like Ray Davis in this situation, but I don't mind stashing a running back, especially if they're with injuries and things like that. And it just depends on who you're dropping. But yeah, I mean, I think I like Ray Davis rest of the season. But
Yeah.
the Bengals will use 2 running backs. It's just in what capacity, right? And Moss just didn't have a great. He just didn't do great this year, right? I think he had one good game, and he did great for Indianapolis, though. Every time it was his time to shine out there, he was a great handcuff to have because you knew Jonathan Taylor was going to get hurt and he was going to step up and get it. All right, let me squeeze this out real
Yep.
quick.
Here.
This is the imperfect lineup again. I posted as a reel on YouTube, but I'm just gonna instead of whatever. Anyways, Kyler Murray 4.7 or 4.76 points, an absolute stinker. Tank Bigsby 2.2. Devin Singletary, 3.3. Xavier Worthy, negative 1.0. When he had like negative 40 yards or something like that. Because it's like, dude, just oh god. Anyways, Puka 2.1, but of course, he got the other guys kind of suck anyways. But yeah, he threw a punch, got popped and thrown out. Komet, Bust City, man, 0.0. And then Michael Pittman, it breaks your heart again, 2.4. Young Huku, 3.0, and the Broncos D a negative 3.0. Game
Yeah.
killer right there. I mean, that could have been something where you lost. You would have been better off just bitching. And I've done it before. I've removed my defense. Going if it was the last game and I already won. I've removed my defense before because I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna
I'm not
take this.
losing because of my defense.
Yeah, it's not happening. So there you
Right.
go. Total score, a fantasy football score. If you had these guys, 13.76 points. Cue the Titanic kazoo or the flute or whatever it is. Titanic flute.
Recorder. It's
Yeah.
on the recorder. Yeah. I drafted Moss and dropped him a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he just hasn't been, and he's sitting there for someone else to pick up.
Mhm. Someone else will make a mistake. Actually, he's on IR now, so he's done for the next 4 weeks. And then that also includes there's a bye week involved. By the time he gets back, it's against Tennessee, Cleveland, Denver, and he's hoping to avoid surgery. It's his neck. He's done for the season, man. He ain't coming back.
Yeah.
Right. And I could read you the whole so he'll be able to play in a 2025 without any complications. But yeah, it's over. That's the reason they went out and got Herbert. So I would actually pick him up. I'd definitely pick him up.
A Puka, damn you.
Dude, when I
Right.
saw it, I go, you gotta be kidding. Dude, it was a loud windows were open, I think, and stuff like that. I was like, and I already had like a couple drinks. I was so pissed. I was so damn mad. I was like, "Thanks a lot, you effing jerk." I was like, and it was kind of weak. It just looked like he got caught up, and he was sitting on the bench, and I'm sitting there looking. I go, "Why is he still on the bench? Get your sorry ass in the clubhouse, go to the locker room." And he's just still sitting there like he's in disbelief. And then finally, like they had the camera on him, like they're not gonna make him leave. It's like, get the hell out of here. But
They
yeah,
just had
I
to,
feel
you
your
just had to
pain.
find out he was still there. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel your pain. I'm
Oh,
right there
yep.
with you.
Yep. Duncan, what is going on, sir? How we doing? Hope
What
we're
up?
doing good, man. But that's pretty much gonna do it for today. Unless you guys got any other questions you want to throw at us real quick. If not, we're gonna call it a night. I'll be back on Saturday night with the Saturday Night Live, talking our start, sit, figuring out our lineups, talking trade stuff, all the stuff we do. We talked kickers and defenses last week. It was crazy.
Can you do
Matt
trades
Stafford,
anymore in the trade over? Aren't trade deadlines over?
some leagues you still can.
Uh,
So it just depends. Matt Stafford or Joe Burrow?
I mean, this is a valid question. I give you the funny look because Burrow's coming off a 5 touchdown game and he's just slinging it, but he's also playing the Ravens this week. And then Stafford's playing. Who the hell are they playing? I didn't even see him.
They're playing Miami, which is tough. They're
Yeah.
one of the best teams against quarterback. Quarterbacks don't score a lot of points against Miami. Meanwhile, Baltimore gives up the third most points
Ooh,
to
that's a Monday night game.
quarterbacks.
They're at
So I'm gonna
home.
go Burrow. I'm going with Burrow this week. Just a better matchup. I do like Stafford going forward. Just in this situation, Burrow's got the better matchup for sure. Um, give me Burrow.
I'm
Baltimore's
start
just not good against the pass.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Burrow as well. I expect Stafford to hold his own this way. I'm actually playing them both in our super flex league. I have
Okay.
Stafford coming in, and because Dak's hurt or bye week. Yeah, I think it actually I had Dak. So yeah, Stafford's coming off the bench. Got Burrow in there. Good to go. Let's roll.
I'm not concerned about no T, because Burrow just throws it to everybody.
I mean, T Higgins hasn't played the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gesicki will get another couple touchdowns or whatever, right? And I mean with Stafford, Miami is number 2 against quarterbacks.
yeah,
They give up the second least amount of points to
yeah.
QBs.
Higgins hadn't been in the last 2 weeks. Gesicki's had a pretty good. He had 2 touchdowns this past week. Yoshivas, he had one as well,
Yeah.
and he benefits when Higgins is out, and Burrow does spread the ball around.
Oh, and they do still have Jamar Chase, just in case you're curious. I mean, you couldn't really tell so much this week, but he is still on the team.
About every other week, man. It's just like, yeah, no, the best receiver in the league. And it's crazy enough is he actually someone was like, yeah, he's still number one. Like I think overall in receiver wise, I'm like, okay, you know.
Did you see the video? It was, I don't know what podcast they were on, but it was Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase were on there, and he asked them who's better, Chase or Justin Jefferson,
Mm.
and Burrow pleaded the fifth.
I mean, think about it, right? He's had like the best receivers. He really has.
But yeah,
Spoiled little brat. No, it's all good, man. No, we were no, we didn't talk about Stafford or Burrow. That was a new question for us. So
yeah,
yeah. Oh, and no, you're talking about T Higgins. Yeah. We mentioned him earlier because it was like one of those. It just yeah, him being out and he was supposed to get traded. He didn't get traded. It's all good, man. No,
yeah. You're
your
good.
questions are
You
welcome.
join us when you can. You know,
Hmm.
if you can't join us live, you can always catch the replay of it. But we just appreciate you coming in and all your support on everything, Duncan. You know, everyone in here, we appreciate your guys' support. Michael, old school, edits, everybody. You know, Mondo came in here today. Javier, just everyone who came in today. We appreciate you guys. We have a blast as always. Um, hey, you know, if you got questions throughout the week, hit us up on our shorts. We get to you guys as quickly as we can on those questions. The one thing I will say is make sure you get us a question about a starter sit. I would say at least 20 minutes before game time. Someone threw one in there like 5 minutes before game time. By the time I pull it up, the game's already started. I'm just like, I'm sorry, man. The game's already started. So
Yeah, a lot of lineups lock at like 5 minutes before too.
yeah,
So yeah, like you're sending it out and it's like, no, it's about to lock. Like, but hey, I've done the same thing. It's like 5 minutes. Like, what am I gonna do, man? It's like
what I do, man.
I feel
But
like
thank you guys so much. We appreciate you all. As always, I'm Alan.
I'm RD.
We'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.